My mother got what she deserved. Warning. Some audiences may find this content disturbing. View at your own discretion. Welcome to the House of Reddit. Today, we share 2 juicy r/nuclear revenge stories from Reddit. My mother got what she deserved. I swallowed my pride and moved into a homeless shelter in my city specifically for people with jobs and savings. I'll be able to continue saving while I work on bettering myself as a person. I created an action plan, and mapped out all my goals and how I want to achieve them. Up until recently, I wasn't even planning on being alive. Sorry if that's too dark. I honestly always had these thoughts wishing my mother would have finished the job with me, and made life easier. But as of late, I'm becoming more and more curious of what I'm capable of if I gave myself the chance. I've been able to visit my younger siblings and have gotten to know my little sister a bit better because of the experience. I feel like a horrible for admitting I still feel nothing for them or really anyone, but I won't let my feelings get in the way of the promise I made to myself for them. My younger siblings are still with CPS, but I can go into detail. My mother was supposed to go to a hearing to get them back, but things got complicated. My mother's best friend's son, who I've known 8 years, does his best to relay all the crap my mother tells her while they talk on the phone all day. Things had gotten worse for her. She hasn't been keeping up with her mortgage payments. Her fiancé, my youngest sibling's dad, is no longer her fiancé anymore and is trying to file for custody. I heard she was a wreck and went ghost, but it didn't make me feel better. There weren't supposed to be any winners. Honestly, I wasn't even going to update. I initially just wanted to tell someone for once, but one thing changed my mind. Something I was not expecting months after I set this all in motion. A phone call from my mother. In the past, seeing her calls, even after moving out, would set me on the edge, but that hasn't been the case lately. It was just another thing that happened. Just another event. Meaningless, but at the same time, she always had my number but never reached out. Even when things first started went downhill. I doubt she gave me a second thought. But I'm sure you're all curious to know what she said. My mother is gone. A few weeks after my post, the state I'm in brought felony charges up against her. She left the country shortly after and went to her home country in South America. I have no idea how she was even allowed to leave, but they didn't take her passport. She avoided specifics on that part. She mentioned staying with a family friend temporarily and tried to frame it as a short vacation. She didn't even start off with a hello. She started the conversation by ordering me to go somewhere quiet before launching into a sob story about how things have been going for her. This is after months of no contact. After laughing at me for being homeless and denying she ever abused me months ago. Just yammering away like it was nothing, but I let her talk. It was surreal. It felt so cold just listening to her talk. It was like talking to a stranger. She mentions losing out on so much money and how she doesn't know how all had happened, and then finally she hits the topic. Cue her bringing up my little sister and the night of the emergency removal. She starts complaining about how she misses my little sister and brothers, mentions something about how it messes up tax season. And then she had the audacity to start trying to convince me that I should go talk to the caseworkers for her to back up her claim that she never abused them or me, and I should know that. She said that to me after everything. Of all people. 9 minutes into the conversation. Like nothing ever happened. But it wasn't anything new. Of course I cut her off, but at that point my mind was already made up. I asked her if she remembered when I used to make her iced tea for all those years. She was a little thrown off but said yes. I paused for a few seconds before slowly telling her in detail about all the ways I sabotaged her Lipton iced tea. She tried to interrupt me once, but I didn't stop talking. I told her about how I'd always put too much sugar and she'd never taste it and keep drinking more, which was why I always insisted. There was just silence on the phone, but I know she was listening. I told her waiting until after dinner when I get home from school to shower so I could rub her spoons between my butt cheeks for maximum damage, and how I'd mix it into her food to mask it. At this point I'm not even sure she's listening anymore, but I'm still describing specific days I remember doing it that I know she would remember. She finally loudly interrupted me, screaming at me disgusting evil things. She cursed me the way she used to back in the days when she was standing over me with an extension cord beating the skin off of me when I was younger. She's blaming me for ruining her life and how she wished she had a better child, all without knowing that I directly caused the destruction of her current life, though she's speaking about the past. I just let her waste her breath. She couldn't touch me or my siblings. It only lasted a few seconds. Now I remember spending years daydreaming of all the things I'd say to my mother if I had the chance, but I just bottled it up with my other baggage and kept trying to exist. A lot of people from my original post also gave me some ideas. When she finally shut her mouth, I calmly told her, "Look Mom, You don't know what abuse is, and honestly it's your own fault this is all happening to you. Also, my bad for pissing in your iced tea." Then I just hung up the phone and blocked her number. That was the last day I drank. I haven't talked to her since. I'm not sure she's aware, or maybe she is, how bad idea it was to leave the country with all this going down, even if it was for a few weeks. At this point I'm done with her. I don't want an apology. I just want to move forward and be a better person. I know that's hard to believe after everything I just told you, but it's the truth. I try my best to put as much positivity into the world and share it with people around me as much as possible. But fuck her. I don't know if she knows it was me, but I didn't tell her. I'm sure she can guess though if she really tried. Anyways, that's my revenge. It's still actively messing her life up, but I'm not taking any active part in it. I wish it wasn't like this. I wish I had a real family that loved me and I knew how to love back the right way. I wish I had a real relationship with my mother and none of those things happened. I wish I could have turned out like one of the happy people in the world, but I can spend all day wishing. My sister's ex-boyfriend is an asshole, so he had to pay. This is not a story about me, it's my sister. She had been very badly mistreated by a man. And if I say badly mistreated, I am definitely putting things mildly. The man moved on with his life, leaving her broken. Now the funny things is, my sister studied computer science at a pretty prestigious university and she was clever as hell, and the guy, well, he wasn't. Turns out he never changed his password. Not the password of his email, nor the password of his Facebook account. So, my sister began to stalk him, online. For over a year, she stalked him. As it turns out, he had always been cheating on her, even when they were together. He had another girlfriend at the same time, and by now this girl was his fiancée. She cringed, seeing them act all lovey-dovey on his Facebook timeline. All of it said in public, almost as if he wanted her to see. She was enraged, but she kept a cool head. She just logged in on his account and checked his messages. Read everything and screenshotted all the suspicious stuff she came along. Which was a lot. He was a major asshole. The guy, as it turns out, was sharing nudes of his fiancée, and my sister. He kept it, to his mates. He was comparing bodies of girls he had been with. Calling his fiancée ugly and complaining about her constantly. Also, bragging about his side chicks continuously, also documenting his activities with them in quite some detail. It was disgusting, but also very useful. My sister, over the span of about a month, built up quite a file on the guy. Enough to take him down forever, pretty much, and then some extra. It was beautiful. Next thing she did, when she was ready compiling all of the incriminating evidence, she logged in on his Facebook, took a deep breath, and made a post she had pre-written, documenting it all. All of his abusive, horrific and terrible messages. The, partially blurred out, nudes of his fiancée, his friends' responses, all with names blurred of course as she's only after this one guy. The complaints. The detailed descriptions of the things they did in bed. All of it. Every last bit. Then, the post ready, she tagged his parents. His fiancée. And her parents as well. She made the post public. Hit post. And immediately after, she changed his password on Facebook. As well as his email. And the phone address and alternative mail to get access to the mail again. She changed everything. Locked him out of his account entirely. Then she logged out. And she enjoyed the show. He was frantically trying to apologize, through another account. His fiancée was having a very public meltdown. Her family and his family were commenting in conciliatory tones. Friends and relatives all chimed in. It was glorious. The engagement was called off. The guy lost a ton of friends over what happened. Being publicly exposed for the piece of human excrement he was, must have hit him hard. Hit him where it hurt. And to date, it's the sweetest story of revenge I've ever heard and personally seen go down. I remember her showing me the post, she linked it to me and I saw it go down together with her. Watch the guy's little carefully built up and squeaky clean image go down into flames. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please let us know in the comments below. Turn on the notifications to know when we post new videos. Thank you for coming to the House of Reddit.